Basically, all the hype for the 2019 NHL entry draft is centered around Jack Hughes, and rightfully so because it's looking like he's going to come into the NHL right away and be a superstar, be a guy who can come in and really turn around the fortunes of a franchise. But I think any team that gets the number 2 overall draft pick is going to be very, very happy because I really do believe that Kakko has really solidified that spot. I think he's guaranteed to go number 2 when you take into account that Jack Hughes is basically 100% going number 1 overall, but I definitely think Kakko is a guy who could probably go number 1 overall in a lot of other draft classes, and I just really do think he's going to be an elite playmaker in the NHL and really be a superstar caliber player. Kakko is a 17-year-old right winger. He's 6'2", 190 pounds, and for a 17-year-old, that's some pretty good size. And that's something that a lot of people seem to take into account when a prospect is coming into the NHL. I don't really think too much into it. Obviously, a good example of that is Elias Pettersson. A lot of people were concerned about his weight coming into the NHL, but obviously, we have seen that it really hasn't made an impact in his game because he's just been pretty much already a superstar player in the NHL. And really, weight does not matter. You look at a guy like Johnny Gaudreau as well, who's a Hart Trophy candidate this year. So I don't really think that matters, but it is nice to see that he does have some good size, at the wing position. He's going to be able to protect the puck a little bit better than most prospects coming into the NHL. So as a 17-year-old, 6'2", 190 pounds, he's the number 2 ranked prospect basically by everybody. I don't really see anyone predicting him to go anywhere lower than 2. I've seen a couple people saying he could challenge for that number 1 spot, but I really don't see that. But I definitely think 100% he will be the number 2 overall pick. I would be extremely happy if Detroit is able to get him. I don't really think Detroit's going to finish dead last this year. I think that will be Ottawa. So then, that number 1 pick will go to Colorado, and they'll be able to get Jack Hughes, which will be pretty scary. But I would be ecstatic if Detroit is able to get Kakko because, like I said, I think he can be a franchise talent and a guy you can really center your rebuild around, and I think Detroit is looking for that. He'd be a great guy, pair with Dylan Larkin, but that's not what this video is about. But like I said, I would be extremely happy if Detroit is able to draft Kakko because I think he's going to come into the NHL and be a game changer right away. Taking a look at the numbers that Kakko is putting up in the Liga this year for TPS, they don't really jump out at you as someone who's going to be like a franchise talent. Like, you look at the top ranked prospects usually, and the guys that get drafted in the lottery usually are putting up around 100 points in the CHL, but you got to remember, Kakko is not playing against people his age. He's playing against grown men in the best league in Finland, so I think that really does help develop prospects and make them more NHL ready by the time they get drafted. So far in 31 games, he has 12 goals and 11 assists for 23 points. And then the 2018-19 World Juniors for Finland, 7 games played, 2 goals, 3 assists for 5 points. Obviously the biggest goal coming in the final minute against the United States to really clinch that gold medal for them. He really was a big part of that team, and I think that was really good for his development as well. But like I said, he's playing over against grown men in Europe, and I really do like prospects that come from Europe. Obviously, Elias Pettersson came over from there, and he was putting up ridiculous numbers as a teenager playing against grown men, obviously the year before he did play in the NHL, but nonetheless, I do think Kakko is going to come in and play as soon as he gets drafted. I don't think he's going to take a year to go back to Europe. I think he's going to come in and play right away, and like I said earlier, I really do think this kid is going to be a game changer in the NHL. Whenever I am on EliteProspects.com looking at, prospect stats and all that stuff when I'm doing my research, I love to read the little blurbs that they have written up about the players because it kind of gives you an idea of what their game is like, and this is what it has to say about Kakko. A quick thinking winger, Kakko never seems to be in a rush. He reads the game exceptionally well and finds himself a step ahead while the play is still developing. He is confident with the puck and is capable of handling it in small spaces. With decent size for a player of his age, Kakko protects the puck well and uses his high hockey IQ to make smart offensive plays. He plays a mature game and is already strong enough to compete with men in the Finnish Liga. Kakko excels offensively and beats opponents with smarts and skill both on and off the puck. And then at the bottom it says quality hands, able to keep the puck under control while physically challenged, works in all areas to help his team get possession. And that is something that you really do like to see, that working in all areas thing, because usually if amazing offensive talents come into the NHL, the defense really takes a little bit longer to come, but when you see players and prospects that are coming into the NHL and already have a responsible defensive game, that is something that you really do like to see, and I think that just makes them that much more NHL ready. So I'm very curious to hear what you guys think about Kakko. Do you think he's going to come into the NHL right away? Where do you think he's going to be drafted? What do you think his ceiling is? Any player comparables? All that stuff, make sure to let me know down in the comments section below. And with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure to drop a like on it and subscribe to the channel for daily daily NHL content, and I will see you guys all in the next video.